Hello everyone, I am Anjana Jindal and I am back here with a poem of our English literature book, that is Mulberry. It is poem number 3 followed by chapter number 5, and the name of the poem is Foreign Lands, written by Robert Louis Stevenson. Now children, before going through the poem, let's learn something about the poet of this poem, that is Robert Louis Stevenson. Robert Louis Stevenson is the poet of the poem Foreign Lands. He was born in Scotland on 13 November 1850. Like the child in the poem, Stevenson loved to travel. He wrote many novels and poems. A Child's Garden of Verses is one of his best-known collection of poetry for children. Treasure Island and Kidnapped are two popular novels written by him. They are full of adventure and daring. Yes, children. So, like children, he loved to travel. So, during his journeys, he used to write his poems and novels. Now, let's learn about the poem. Let me introduce you with a poem, that what the poem is about. This is a poem that describes what a child sees as he climbs to the top of a tree. To a grown-up, the things he says may seem ordinary, but the child finds them exciting. The child wishes to climb still higher. Means, children, this poem talks about a little boy who climbs up a cherry tree and finds so many exciting things that he has never seen before. Children, for grown-ups or the mature people, no, these things may seem ordinary, simple, because they would have seen all the things, nearby places and all. But for a child, all these things are the foreign lands. Why? Because he has never seen these things before. So here, child wishes to climb still higher. The poem also talks about the dreams and wishes of a little boy. So let's read the poem to find out what he wants to express. Okay, children. Now let's start with the poem Foreign Lands. I will explain you paragraph wise, and this is the first paragraph of the poem. Okay, let's read once. Up into the cherry tree, who should climb but little me? I held the trunk with both my hands and looked abroad on foreign lands. See children, here the words are being used little me. Poet is using the words little me, means the word little for himself. This shows that our poet is a little boy. Okay, now the poet has started his first stanza with a question that who should climb up the cherry tree? And he has also shared his experience. See, up into the cherry tree, who should climb but little me? In these lines, poet found a cherry tree and now he is asking himself, like children, he was talking to himself, right? So he is asking that who should climb up this tree? Who should climb this tree? And also he answered himself that the one who should climb the tree is none other than the little boy. That is the poet himself. Yes. And then he climbs the cherry tree. Here the poet is small, no? So that's why his thoughts would also be small, like a child. Yes, as you feel like the same way, poet is also feeling. Yes. Now I held the trunk with both my hands and looked abroad on foreign lands. See children, here two words abroad and foreign are used. So let me explain you the meaning of these words. So the word abroad here means all around. Abroad means all around. And the word foreign. Foreign means the places or the things of or from a different country. Means children, you know, the places which are far away from us, no, which are too far, which we have never seen, or the places we are not familiar with, no, those places we call foreign, no, foreign places, like the foreign countries or foreign places. Yes, that is the word foreign means here. Now here, poet is telling that how he climbed the tree. He's just trying to explain his experience of climbing the tree and what he saw after climbing the tree, that he is telling. So for climbing the tree, he held the trunk with both his hands, as the poet is a little boy, no? So he may fall if he will not hold it tightly. That's why he hold the trunk very tightly. See children, as you all are also small, no? So if you climb a tree, then you also use both your hands to climb the tree, and also you hold it very tightly, no? Because you have the fear inside that you may fall down, right? So with the same fear, poet also did. He held the trunk very tightly and climbed up the tree. Now he has climbed the tree, and what he saw? Yeah, he saw foreign lands. Yes. See children, when he climbed up the tree, he looked all around. He looked all around here and there, whatever he can see, as far as he can see, no? His vision can go. He saw all that. He moved his eyes all around the place, and whatever he saw there, it seemed to be the foreign lands to him. Why? Why it seemed foreign lands? Yes, because poet used to live in the four walls of his house, and he had never seen these things before. That's why they were foreign lands for him. Children, when you were small, if you remember when you were very small, no? That time your mother also used to take care a lot of you, no? You were not allowed to go out. So same way, poet was also living in the four walls of his house. So the nearby places even he never seen. So all these places, the very first time when he is seeing, so he felt like the foreign lands. All were because all the things and the places were totally new for him. Okay. Now children, here is the second paragraph, or you can say the second stanza of the poem. Let's read. I saw the next door garden lie, adorned with flowers before my eye, and many pleasant places more that I had never seen before. See children, now poet has already climbed up the tree. So now in these lines, poet has shared the beauty of the places he had seen when he climbed up the tree. Yes. I saw the next door garden lie, adorned with flowers before my eye. Children, here a word adorned is used, right? Which means decorated. Adorned means decorated. Okay. So children, the first thing, when he climbed up the tree, then the first thing which the poet saw was the next door garden. Next door garden means his neighbor's garden. Next door garden means the neighbor's garden. So the very first thing which poet saw after climbing the tree was his neighbor's garden. And children, see, if it is a garden, then it would be definitely beautiful. Is it not? It would be beautiful, no? Yes. And what are the beautiful elements of the garden? What are the beautiful elements? Yes, flowers. Flowers are the beautiful elements, na, which make the garden beautiful. So garden was very beautifully decorated with the flowers. And the child felt very happy. He was very happy to see. Why? Because he never saw those places before. Now, and many pleasant places more that I had never seen before. See children, there was not only one thing, na, which poet saw after climbing the tree. Many more things were there. Yes, so there were many other pleasant places which he had never seen before and he saw after climbing that tree. So children, here the poet is calling those places as the pleasant places. You know why? Why he is calling those places as the pleasant places? Because those places made the poet happy. He was pleased to see all those places. And why he became happy? Why he became so happy to see those places and he called them the pleasant? As I told you earlier, that he used to live in the four walls of his house, no? Yes. So he had never seen the places before and all the things and all the places were totally new for him. That's why he was very much happy. So all those places were pleasant for him. Okay. Now children, let's start with the third paragraph. Okay. I saw the dimpling river pass and be the sky's blue looking glass. The dusty roads go up and down with people trampling into town. Now in this stanza, poet is describing something new and interesting. Okay. And to know that, let's read further. See, I saw the dimpling river pass and be the sky's blue looking glass. Children, see what's new and interesting in these lines. Yes, poet has referred the river as the dimpling river. And what does dimpling river mean? It means that it has turns and twists. Like the water has creases that fold and unfold. Let's take an example. An example of waves. Children, you all have seen the waves now. You all have seen the rivers. So in the river, waves are there? Yes. So like waves have twists and turns and water has folds? No. It does not have peaks like mountains, isn't it? It has folds and unfolds. So in the same way, poet has used the word dimpling river for it. Means river has dimples on his surface. Right? So, and the other interesting thing is that poet has also used river as a metaphor. That is, it is the looking glass for the sky. You know what is the meaning of looking glass? Looking glass means a mirror. So here, poet has used river as a metaphor. You know what is metaphor? Metaphor is a comparison between two things that share a common characteristics. Means one thing is equal to another when we compare and we consider as same. Then we use metaphor. Like whatever we see in the river, it reflects everything, isn't it? Have you ever seen? Yes. So whether it is our reflection or something else. So now sky is above the river, isn't it? Sky is above the river, no? And so it is reflected through the river water. And here river acted as a looking glass, that is mirror for the sky. Okay. Now the dusty roads go up and down with people trampling into town. So children, here the word trampling means walking. So poet has also seen the dusty roads which go up and down, means the roads are curving up and down. And how they go up and down? See, whenever you go on the roads, you see speed breakers and pits also, no? Yeah, so those are referred as the ups and downs of the dusty roads here. Now, if roads are there, then people would also be walking, isn't it? Yes. And he also saw the people walking on the road. And where were they going? They were going to the town. Yes. Now children, let's start with the fourth stanza. If I could find a higher tree, farther and farther I should see, to where the grown-up river slips into the sea among the ships. So children, in these lines, poet is expressing his wish. See, he's saying, if I could find a higher tree, farther and farther I should see. Means here the poet wished to climb higher and higher so he could see more far off places. Let's take an example. Children, as we all are at our homes, no? We all are staying at our homes for so long. Just because of our safety, no? So you all feel like to go out and run away as far as possible, isn't it? You all want to go out of the house, no? So similarly, poet wanted to run his vision as far as possible, and that's why he wanted to find a higher tree so that he could climb higher, right? Now, to where the grown-up river slips into the sea among the ships. See children, here poet has called the river grown up. So children, rivers start in mountains and end in seas. So if we call a river young when it is in the mountains, so we would call it grown up, means matured by the time it reaches the sea. So here the river is slipping into the sea. That's why poet has called as matured river, means grown up river. Okay. So now here he is trying to express that if he could climb a higher tree, he would have seen the grown up river, means the matured river, getting mingled into the sea where the ships are floating. Yes. Now children, it is the last stanza of the poem. Let's see. To where the roads on either hand lead onward into fairyland, where all the children dine at 5 and all the playthings come alive. See children, in this stanza, poet wished for those things which every child, every little child imagines. And he wished his dreams to come true. And just to know that what he wished, let's read further. Okay? To where the roads on either hand lead onward into fairyland. See children, first of all, the word you have seen here, on either hand, it means on both sides. Okay? It means on both sides. So, now here the little boy wished that on whichever side of the road he would go may lead him to the fairyland. And children, see, it is the dream of every child, no? To go and see the fairyland. Yes, so this was the dream of the poet also. Okay. Now, where all the children dine at 5 and all the playthings come alive. So children, here what is the meaning of playthings? It means toys. Okay, playthings means toys. Now, which type of fairyland poet wished for? You know, he wanted to reach the fairyland, no? So, which type of fairyland poet wished for? Yes, poet wished for such a fairyland where children could have finished their dinner at 5 and could play with their toys which would come alive. See children, why the poet wished that the children could finish their dinner at 5? Why? Because if they'll finish their dinner at 5, then they would have lot of time to play. Isn't it? Yes. That's why he thought of such a fairyland where he could have finished that dinner at 5 and could play with the toys for as long as he wished. Now children, see, take an example like if poet is playing with a toy horse, right? Then that toy horse may come alive and play with him. That he meant here that all the playthings come alive. Clear? So children, this was all about the poem where you have learned about the wishes and the dreams of a little child. I hope you have enjoyed the poem. Now let's try the exercises given in the book. Let's see the word meanings which were given in the poem, which I have already explained you while explaining the poem. Let's see once again. First one is abroad, which means all around. Next is foreign, of or from a different country. Adorned means decorated. Dimpling river means as the water flows, it looks as though it has creases that fold and unfold. Looking glass means mirror. Trampling means walking. On either hand means on both sides. And playthings means toys. Now let's move to the exercises. Now children, here making connections. Fill in the blanks with words from the poem. You have to fill the given blanks. A. The river is compared to a looking glass for the sky. Yes, the river is compared to a looking glass, no, for the sky. Yes. B. We know the speaker is a child because he uses the word little to describe himself. Just to describe himself, poet has used the word little, right? And this word shows that the speaker is a child, means the poet is a child. Yes. C. Farther. Farther is a word that is a synonym for further. Your dictionary tells you that one difference between further and farther is that farther is used for distance only, but further is used for both time and space. D. Because the river seems to crease, fold and unfold, the adjective dimpling has been used to describe it. Yes. Dimpling is the word, no? Which is used for just to showing the creases of the river. Yes. E. Rivers start in mountains and end in seas. So if we call a river young, when it is in the mountains, we would call it grown up by the time it reaches the sea. Yes, grown up means matured. Correct. You can do these exercises and the word meaning in your copy. Here is a home assignment for you. See, in this exercise, here you have to express your imagination. Okay. See, in the last stanza of the poem, the child imagines a land where playthings come alive. Means he's talking about the fairyland now? Yes. So imagine that you are a toy that has come alive and write a short verse about yourself as a toy. Here is a sample for you to read. So with the help of the sample, you can imagine and express your imagination. I am a bright red and blue train. I wonder how fast I can go on my track. I hear the thunder, I hear the rain. I want to travel to the moon and back. I am a bright red and blue train. Okay, so it is a short verse and one more you have to do with your own. It is given in the form of blanks like A, I am a dash, you have to complete. Then B, I wonder what dash. C, I hear dash. D, I want to dash. E, I am a dash. You have to fill the blank and have to write a short verse just about yourself as a train. Just imagine that you are a toy and then you have to write about yourself as a toy. Okay, children? So children, and the question answers are left now. So question answers that I'll send you on your WhatsApp group. Okay? So I hope you understood everything of the slide and you have enjoyed. Okay. Have a good day and thank you.